What's up, guys? Matt here. So, this isn't a gaming video. Um, as you can probably tell, I don't know what I'm going to title this yet, to be honest with you. I haven't really thought that far ahead. I'm pretty tired and it's pretty hot at the moment, so probably not the best time to be doing a video, but maybe it's the best time to do it. So, this video is me being open about, like, basically the past few years, because obviously, my channel is pretty old. Like, I'm pretty sure I've got videos going back like 12 years. So, I mean, that's quite a long time realistically. Um, you know, you don't see, there are channels that obviously go back even longer than that, but a lot of channels, most of the time, they're only about, I don't know what, maybe 8 years old at the most. So 12 years is actually quite a long time. But over the years, obviously, I've been very what's the word? Is the word sporadic, I think, or inconsistent? I think both of those words work. But anyway, I don't, I might start rambling in this video at points because I'm sort of trying to not. I don't know. I'm trying to probably say everything, but it's going to be, it's not easy to say everything. And this video, no matter the reception that this video gets, I'm gonna try and keep it up on my YouTube, even if people end up sort of reacting negatively towards it, because there are a couple of people that I know that are not the friendliest to me anymore. Not because of anything that I've done, or at least not anything I'm aware of doing. Really, it's but that's life. You can't get along with everyone. Um, Certainly not these days, anyway. But yeah, so this is video, and it's gonna be a raw video for me because I don't think I've ever really done a video like this before, like not properly getting into it, especially not over the past few years anyway. So I want to talk to you guys about my mental health situation. Um, Especially over, I would say, the past 2 or 3 years, it's been especially noticeable. I've been really struggling, but I'll be honest with you, I can't really remember a time, like, for the past long time. Like, I'm thinking like at least probably over, I don't know, probably like since even before like I began my YouTube. Honestly, I can't really think of a time where I was properly really happy. Um, you know, that's sad to think about. That's how I feel realistically. I just don't. I think I've been trying to shy away from it or ignore it. Um, but I'm. I've gotten. I've gotten progressively more tired over the last couple of years, and I can't really. I can't really put on the. I can't really put on the charade anymore. I'm not a happy person. I'm not happy with how my life has turned out. Um, and I'm already. I mean, I'm not old, but I'm not young. I mean, I turned 25 in a week. 25 is not exactly young, not really anyway. By 25, there are quite a lot of people out there that have sort of already built their lives up, and sort of have it together at least, or at least building up to have it together. And my situation is very much I'm not even one step on that. I haven't even taken this. I'm at 0% basically because I haven't really been able to do anything when it comes to that situation. Now everyone has different goals in life and everyone progresses at different speeds, but for me it feels like I'm not even progressing at an extremely slow speed. It feels like there's been no progression at all. And I don't want to go through my whole life story here because, you know, people aren't really going to be interested in that. But even when I used to be at school, I was very much like, when it came to the teachers, they didn't really pay all that much attention. So I was very much one of those ones that just sort of drifted through, not causing problems, but not excelling. You're basically just sort of not really, you're not really there. You're there, but you're not there. And I did about average at school. You know, I got average grades really, so it's not really terrible where they're like, oh wow, we really need to help you, but it's not really good. Like, oh okay, you're going to be fine because you're going to be able to go and do whatever you want. That's not the case. I did probably average or slightly below average. But to be honest with you, even if I had done really well, I don't think that necessarily would have changed much. After that, I went to college for like 2.5 years, and again, I found that to be a waste of time. To be honest with you, and I've always really struggled making friends. I've only had like maybe 2 or 3 friends over, you know, that I can actually like properly really think of friends like this, because I've always sort of struggled to differentiate between friends and people that you just talk to and people that you just know. I've really struggled to know the difference between those, but if I had to say like real friends, I'd probably say maybe 2 or 3. And now I pretty much don't have anyone, and that's not their fault really. It's more my fault because I've sort of isolated myself. Definitely, I don't. You know, even before all this Corona stuff began, I was very much on my own. Even like 2, 3, 4, 5 years before this Corona stuff even started, I spent most of my time on my own. And honestly, part of me is glad about that because I sort of feel a bit more calm when I'm on my own, but I also sort of feel lonely. So it's different. It's like you've got two conflicting, contradicting desires, and you know, if you get one, the other one's not happy, and it's vice versa. So it's very difficult for me, and I still haven't really worked out a solution to that. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I've never went out at all because I did sort of have a routine of like going out maybe once a week. But that was about all I could manage really. Like if I couldn't. It was kind of tiring when I think about it. Like I do find socialising very tiring, and these days I like pretty much I'm tired as soon as I get out of bed. So I've barely got any energy to do much of anything these days, which is pretty rough. I mean, I do sleep a lot. Like over the past, I would say I probably slept at least about on average 9, 10 hours a day, and I still feel tired because I think that the quality of sleep isn't there. I don't think my brain, although my brain is sort of powering down a bit and I'm sleeping, I don't think my brain is getting the quality rest that it needs. I did remember watching a video about someone talked about like when you're in a certain like situation, like if you're depressed or anxious and stuff like that. I think they said you only get about 30% like real. You only get about 30% of the sleep's like usage. Basically, if you have 9 hours sleep, it's pretty much the equivalent of getting 3 good hours sleep, which isn't really enough for anyone to live on or not function properly anyway. So that's something that I found out about. And also more recently, over the past, I don't know, I'd say about a month or so, I've noticed that I have been sort of having not nightmares, but not positive dreams. Now, I've always been someone that can actually sort of maybe recall dreams that I've had, whereas a lot of people forget them. I actually normally can remember them reasonably well, so even if they're positive or negative, I can sort of vaguely remember them. or at least my brain thinks that I'm remembering them, because obviously they're not. They're not. I don't know. I don't want to get into that sort of thing because that's really complicated. But it's sort of like are they real or are they not real? I don't know. But if it's in your head, it might as well be real. So that's something that's been a bit of a pain recently. So anyway, sort of trying to fast forward a little bit more. So I'd say, as I said, like 12 years I've just been cruising by. Like literally, once I left college, that was it. Like I was literally just, most of my day consisted of waking up, eating, like playing video games maybe, and then going back to sleep and rinse and repeating. And that's not living. That's not really living. That's just getting by. That's just going day to day. It's tough. People are going to think, oh, you're just lazy. You're not doing anything. You're a burden. And I've even seen people say like, right, people that are not working are like parasites and stuff. And it really does make you feel. It makes you feel even worse, because it does. It makes you feel ashamed of the fact that apparently you're not really contributing, and that's tough. It really is tough. It makes you feel. It does. It makes you feel worse. You feel guilty. But it's people can be very judgmental. They can, and I'd like to believe that if they were in the same situation, that they would maybe if they were in the same situation, they'd be a bit more sympathetic than they are, because they do just see people that aren't really doing anything as a burden, and I mean, they're entitled to view people how they want, but it's not kind. Um, so yeah, that's something that I've struggled with. Like whenever I've seen like people put comments on stuff, and people have been very uh, unkind to people, which there's obviously with when it comes to like society, there are kind people and there are people that are not kind. So that's never going to change. But usually it's the people that are unkind that are the loudest, and they're the ones that get picked up on. So yeah. Anyway, so I've been sort of over for the past until about 2 years ago, I'd just been sort of going with the flow, just no particular purpose in life, but I've just been going with it. But then I noticed it was getting a lot worse. Like I was really, you get to a point where you just don't care. You just don't care about anything anymore. And that was sort of when I really sort of just felt like, oh, this is, I can't part with this. Like it literally got to the point where I would find it, I didn't even have the strength to like go shopping. I didn't even have, I could just about manage to drag myself around, going shopping to actually get food. And that was when I was like, wow, this is, if this isn't even the worst of it, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. So, I did go to the doctors, um, and they have given me medication, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't taken that in about a month because I didn't notice it was having any effect. Now I should go back to the doctors really and say that and try something new, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like it would do much good. Now, on top of this depression and anxiety, I also have noticed over the past couple of years or so, very much. So people throw OCD. People throw the term OCD around quite a lot. People are like, oh, you like stuff really clean, or everything has to be in place. You're very OCD, and that's just scratching the surface of OCD. And people make light of it a bit too much. I feel like I think I definitely do have OCD, and it really makes my anxiety and depression even worse. And I just wish there was a way to get rid of it, but there isn't really a cure for OCD. It's not. It's not really curable. You can manage it, much like depression isn't really curable. You can manage it, but it doesn't really go away. You can just try and lessen it. But the problem that I've been having with OCD is I've had to have everything perfect. And as we all know, there isn't perfect's not really achievable with many things. So I'll try and give you an example. Let me think. So, say you've got a book. Okay, you've got a paper book. Now, say there is a very, very small tear on one of the pages of that book. Most people will not give any thought to that whatsoever. It will not, they won't even really think about it. But for me, that is a massive, massive problem. And it really bothers and upsets me, right? Now imagine that, but for everything. And I mean everything almost. Have I got a physical example with me at the moment? Okay, so this is a bit of an old example. So my big Link statue, right? Now I've had this about 5 or 6 years, I think, and I can't remember what happened with it, but stuff like little bits of paint being scraped off of it, and there's also a massive sort of scratch on across the shield. You know, people will not give any thought to that. That will not bother most people at all. But for me, that is a huge huge issue. It really upsets me. And it's the same with other stuff. Like, if I buy a game and the manual's missing, or the manual's ripped, or the cover's ripped and stuff like that, really upsets me. So that makes buying things, I buy things, and then a lot of the time I'll be upset about it because it isn't perfect, because perfect is nearly impossible to achieve, and that's with everything. There have even been cases in the past where it has gotten so bad I've gone out and rebought the same item in hopes of getting one that is perfect. Now, that very often that doesn't. You don't even the second, third, fourth time. It won't be perfect. So you literally are trying to. You're trying to achieve perfection, and it's practically an impossible task, and it really is having an impact, and it really upsets me and bothers me. I'll literally sit there just thinking about it, and it just sit there in my mind. Now, don't get me wrong, there are very small periods of time where you won't be thinking about it because you'll be distracted on something else, but then it will just pop back in your head again, and you go through the same thing over and over again, and it's very difficult. So I'll give you an example. Now, with some things it is sort of, they say that you're not supposed to try and fix the thing that you think's imperfect, because that's not fighting the urge of trying to not be bothered by it. But I'll give you an example of one that really upsets me. So I bought a poster at a convention about 5 years ago, and I even framed them. I framed them because the posters were so nice. But little did I know, on one of the posters there is a mark on the front of it that I could see. Now, I wish to God that I'd never saw that mark and looked at it closely, because now it's constantly on my head. And here's the problem, right? I can't get a replacement for it because it was bought at a convention and the convention is only like twice a year, and pretty much I didn't go to the one at the beginning of the year, and the one that was meant to be happening like next week obviously got cancelled because of the corona. So the next one isn't happening until like February next year, and that's if that one even happens, because we don't know what's going to happen with this virus business. So I won't even have it up in the wall. I won't have it up on the wall. It's in a cupboard, and it's been in that cupboard for like the past 2 years. But even then, I still think about it, and it still upsets me. It's very difficult to, and most people listening to this will think, oh, I'm crazy for that, but it's if those of you that sort of understand and do suffer with OCD and stuff, you hopefully will relate to me about these things. So yeah, that's one of the things that's really been bugging me at the moment. So what else? So yeah, onto the like anxiety and depression stuff. So it does like it's very difficult. As I said, I'm always tired. Um, I don't really normally have any energy. I do feel very ashamed and guilty because of the fact that I'm not really doing anything. Um, you know, I do feel like a burden at times, and yeah, it is tough. Mental health is a real issue with a lot of people, and there is help out there. Don't get me wrong; it's not. We are one of the countries that sort of is trying to deal with it a bit more than most other countries. There are other countries out there that just pretty much don't acknowledge it. And I do feel for those people a lot, because they're dealing with it, but they won't. The help's not even necessarily out there, which is awful, to be honest with you, because I wouldn't wish this on anybody, even people that I don't necessarily like. I would not wish this on them, because it isn't. It's not living. It's not. It's just you're just alive. You're not even. You're alive, but you're not living. Um, that's how it feels anyway. And hopefully, I mean, it's a long road, and as I said, you can't really. It's not really curable. If there was a magic tablet that I could take, and the anxiety would go away, and I wouldn't be bothered by stuff that isn't perfect, I would take that any day to not be bothered by it, because then I'd maybe start to be able to, you know, do something. Like I'm literally as I said, my life literally consists of just sitting in my room, not doing anything, even before the virus. I mean, I know most people have been stuck in their house for like the past 3 months. Well, try doing that for like 2, 3 years. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Occasionally going out, like maybe once or twice, like once a week, but it sort of does drive you a bit mad in the end. But that's the funny thing. The past 2 or 3 years has sort of been preparing me for this corona thing, because it's like, well, if I spent the past 3 years sort of doing this, 3 or 4 months of complete isolation, just sitting in your house, is nothing for me, really, because I was doing that way before. Like, since this corona, since this corona stuff started, like at the beginning of the beginning of March, I think. So it is about 3, 4 months ish. I had literally not left my house, not at all. I might have stepped outside the front door, but that's it. I didn't go anywhere or anything like that. I've just been in my house. And it's tough. It's tough for me. So I can't imagine how tough it's been for people that weren't used to that were used to going out quite a lot. So it must have been especially tough for them. But yeah, I mean, I can't really think of what else to say, really. It's, I just wanted to get this out in the open and sort of explain how I've been. And as I said, there are no doubt might be people that maybe end up watching this, and they're not positive about it. And okay, that's fine. I don't, you can say what you want. To be honest with you, you can't really make me feel much worse than I already feel. Um, Now I don't really know if I want to say this on the video, but I might as well. I might as well acknowledge it, although it might cause problems for somebody that I know. But I want to sort of confront it head on. So the other day I was sent a video by somebody, and it was a video of some people talking about me, not in a positive way. Which honestly shocked me because I haven't spoken to these people that were talking about me for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 months. So I don't know why they decided to I don't know why they decided to sit around talking about me when I don't talk to them anymore. But that sort of did really hit me. It's like, wow, like I haven't done anything to people, and yet they actually are wasting their time sitting around talking about me, which it didn't really upset me. It was more of a I was more of a confused as to why they would waste their time doing it. To be honest with you, but yeah, that was something that I encountered the other day, and I sort of thought it was a bit off because it's like, really, are you really just going to sit around doing that completely unprovoked? It seems a bit off to me. Like, don't get me wrong. You had probably had nothing better to do because of this corona, but I mean, I'm sure there's better things you could have done than sitting around, sort of watching some of my past videos and making fun of me for it. But you do you at the end of the day. Doesn't really affect me all that much. I'm not going to sit here acting like it's really affected me because I've had worse. I've had worse in the past from people. So there you go. But yeah. What else? Is there anything else that I want to say in this video? So I want to sort of end this video with I don't know what the word is. I would ask that people were a bit more understanding about some of the there's billions, there's like what, over 7 billion people on this planet, right? Everyone's different, everyone is dealing with shit. So just try and be understanding, and just don't unnecessarily like sort of insult people, and don't say that we're a burden, don't call us parasites and all that, because realistically this isn't really our choice. I mean, you might see it as us being lazy in that we're choosing to do this, but we're not really. We're not, because if you were in the same situation as us, you would not like it either. This isn't a case of we're thriving. Okay, we're not doing well for ourselves, because sitting in your room is not what I consider doing well for yourself. It's not, you know. So yeah, that was about it really. Just please try and be a bit more understanding. Please be a bit more empathetic and sympathetic towards people, and don't try and force people to get help as well, because if you've got friends or families that you are noticing are sort of isolating themselves and suffering as well, don't try and force them to get help, because a lot of the time it will have the opposite effect. Because although it's very tough, because sometimes we'll be in a place where we would like help, and sometimes we're in a place where we don't want help, and it's the same with socializing. There might be times where we would like company and to talk, but probably a lot of the time we would like to be on our own and sort of isolate because we can't deal with people at the moment. That's what I've found anyway. And also, another thing is, please don't think of these sort of things as please don't try and think of like this sort of thing as attention seeking, because it's not attention seeking. It is trying to get attention, but it's trying to get attention for not not because of ourselves. We're more trying to bring attention to the issue as a whole. You know, mental health as a whole. We're trying to get attention to it, and to say that this is something that we do need to. This is something that we need to work towards maybe solving. Although I can't imagine there's not going to be a massive solution for everything, unfortunately, because that's not really the way it works. But you know, as I said, there are a lot of people struggling out there. There are people that are struggling way worse than I am. It's really rough. I do think it is a very difficult life. You know, and I think unless we try and change, unless we try and make things easier for people, it's just going to get worse and worse. And that's not a good position for us to be in, because it just isn't. You know, nobody deserves to be like this. Everyone. You know, it does. It feels, as I said, it feels very lonely. I mean, you know, there are people out there that are completely on their own. They haven't got family or friends or anything, and that's really horrible. But even those of us that do have family and friends, we still feel alone, because in our heads, we just are. In our heads, we are alone still. You know, even if physically there is someone there, in our heads, we don't see it like that. You know, and that's why I've sort of distanced myself from people. And part of me doesn't regret it. Part of me doesn't regret it, because it's, you know, it's sort of a case of you just bring everyone else down with you if you're there. You know, it's like nobody really wants to be friends with the downers, because it just brings everyone down, you know, and that's not really fair on them, to be honest with you. Like, you know, you don't want to be the one that brings everyone down, because that makes you feel even worse. Goes back to guilt and feeling ashamed again. But yeah, I think that's enough for this video. As I said, I feel pretty tired. So yeah, as always, thanks for watching, guys. And just remember, as I said, please try and be understanding. You know, I just take it a day at a time. These days, I'm just trying to take each day as it comes, even if it is normally the same. I'm just trying to go day by day, because what is the point in me thinking ahead like 2 or 3 years? Because honestly, the chances are it's probably going to be no different realistically. But yeah. Anyway, guys, as I said, thanks for watching this video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. So see you later, guys.